Hey, folks. Once again, this is Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking, and I've got my buddy Alex on the line.
What's up, guys?
And we are hanging out together. I miss him. He was over here in New Jersey a little
Been a
while
while,
ago.
man.
I had so much fun, dude. I really, even my kids are like, "Are you talking to that Alex guy again?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." Dude, my girls remembered you. We had so much fun.
Yeah, we did have a good time. I missed those amazing burgers you were making. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
and the what did we have from your garden? Was it squash?
We had the squash, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
you
so
remember?
good.
That's right. Yeah, dude.
So
Yeah.
good.
My wife, my wife is gonna be all like, "Yeah, I'm the gardener." Yeah, she
I'm
did.
easy. I'm so easy to please because I eat all the food and I love it all. So it's kind of a nice circle. People like cooking for me. I love eating it.
It's a nice little thing you got going on there, dude. Good.
Yeah.
Wait, you planned that well, didn't you?
You know, I could have planned it worse.
No. Well, here's the deal, folks. I've been doing this radio show on Mountain Bike Radio for a little while now, and not too long ago, I did a show with my buddy Ben, and we talked about just responsibility of a mountain biker in regards to the kind of things you should know how to do when it comes to maintaining your bike. And honestly, it kind of got mixed opinions. Like some people were like, "Yeah, you should be able to know these things," and other people were like, "Maybe you shouldn't," or maybe you're going too far. And I figured, you know what? Here's how I'm going to try to play this. Alex knows his way around a bike. I mean, you've got quite a history with working on bikes. I mean, not for nothing. Bikes are basically your entire life. That's what you do. So the guy knows his way around a bike, and he travels. So he meets lots of different people. So I figured, rather than me try to keep on thinking about what I think, I thought it might be cool to get someone that knows how to maintain a bike, has to keep his bike in somewhat of a good working order, or basically he can't do his job. His job is mountain biking, which is one hell of a pretty damn good job. And he meets lots of not a bad gig, dude.
Not bad.
Mountain biking and eating people's
pretty
food,
damn
dude. You
fortunate,
rock,
yeah.
dude. You rock. Food eating mountain biker. You're the man.
Eating, beer drinking, mountain biker.
And he meets tons of people. So I just figured, look, dude, let's talk about some of the people you meet, and I'd love to get an idea of, their technical capabilities, so we can kind of and where this is also going to, dude, is a lot of the people that have been talking about this are very new riders. So it would be great for them to get an idea of what people think they should know when they're riding, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, well, let's start with this so that it doesn't sound, so I don't ever come off as
Fine, man.
pompous or whatever in the future of the talk. Let's talk about myself when I began riding and what I knew. I'll tell you exactly, because I knew nothing.
That's a good
I'll
approach.
never forget it. Even into maybe like 2 years of riding, the majority of what I knew how to do on a bike was change a tire.
Okay.
And I thought that I knew how to kind of adjust a derailleur, but I didn't. And I think that is the next step, is learning how to adjust derailleurs, do a simple rear derailleur adjustment. So for the longest time in my mountain bike career, all I knew how to do is change a tire.
Okay.
And even to this day, although I've worked in bike shops, I am not a professional, like a very skilled mechanic. I would definitely consider myself still a pretty intermediate. I know how to do day-to-day bike maintenance, but I don't know how to do a lot of the overhauling stuff. I don't know how to work with suspension and whatnot, but that's okay. That's not something that most riders need to know.
Agreed.
Although there are some things that I do think, had I known back when I was the beginning mountain biker, would have helped me tremendously, both on the trail and financially, saving some money.
That's a good point.
Because there's a certain point of maintenance, and I mean, you tell me if you agree, but there's a certain point at which I'm thinking of cost benefit and like going to your local bike shop. There's certain things where the overhead, the time spent on your bike is almost nothing when you take it into a bike shop, but you're paying $15 to $50. And those are the things that I think would be really beneficial for most mountain bikers to learn and be able to do it on their own and be able to get themselves out of jams on the trail and also save some money.
That's a good point. I mean, because there's some things that, if I can kind of bring this over to like the whole car analogy, I can change my own oil. I can change my brakes and stuff like that. Brakes are pretty advanced for me, but I can do that now, and I do that for exactly why you say there's a massive cost savings for me to do my brakes than to take it into the shop. But the oil change and the time, it's not that bad, you know. And then, but on the oil change, it's actually only a couple dollars. Like literally, unless you buy the oil in like a freaking boatload, it's like,
are you talking about savings?
Savings, exactly. For some of that, for me,
there's not much margin on that.
No, so okay, maybe I lost an extra $10, but I didn't have to get dirty. I didn't have to sit underneath the car and freeze my butt off. So that's a really good approach to take a look at it and say, look, there are some things that you should know how to do anyway, but also it saves you some time and some coin, you know. Yeah. So that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, I like that.
That's how, I mean, you know, living on the road, that's how I've always, I have to approach everything. Oh, hey, look, you came prepared, dude. I did not.
Yeah, we had a tough day. We'll talk after the call.
I had my last beer that was a horrible beer in my live stream last night, and thank goodness that thing's gone. But
wine is flowing well tonight. Anyway,
nice. Shoot, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I mean, you know, living on the road, my approach to everything is from a pragmatic standpoint. It's what can I do? How can I save money? And weighing money versus time, and you know where my own abilities lie, you know, because I think time management is a lot about that.
Right.
Is your time better spent trying to learn how to overhaul a fork, or is your time better spent going and doing your job where you're making money, you know?
Right. That's a good point. So, and anything, and we also have to look at it this way too, folks, anything that Alex or I know how to do now, at one point we didn't know how to do at all.
Yes.
So at one point, all the new riders that are watching this video that don't know how to do anything we talk about, we were that same exact person, because
so it's okay.
You don't come out of the womb with a set of tire irons and a bottle of stand sealant. I mean, that would hurt like hell for you. Yeah. So I mean, like, bottom line is you got to pick these things up. So let's talk about a couple things that you feel the regular guy, just a couple things you think that would be like worth their time to learn more about.
Okay. I think the very first thing is what I've already said. You have to know how to change a tire.
Fair enough.
And change a tube. Whether you have tubeless or a tube, you need to know how to put a tube in there to replace a tube when you maybe slash a sidewall on your tubeless setup. You need to know how to manage that, because that's the number one ride ender.
Right.
And I think it's also the easiest, the lowest investment. You need a tire lever, and you need some sealant. Something that might be even better is or like the next level is to learn how to use plugs. So if you've slashed your tubeless setup, you can use a plug or a patch kit. And so I think that's the first thing. And I think that most riders, most people on the trail actually do know how to do that one.
But I think that's an important one, because folks, here's why it's not like it used to be. In the old day, it was shove another tube in there, it popped, you know, you have your little sticky patchy stuff and you shove it on there. But now we're all going tubeless. Now, that also means that a lot of you possibly, brought your bike to the bike shop and said, hello, Mr. Bike Shop. My bike didn't come with tubeless. It's tubeless ready. Convert it for me, and I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, so now you don't have a tube in there. You're riding. What do? You've got sealant. The stuff's all over the place, and you have to know how to use a plug. That's a huge one. I'll link up videos for that, because they literally. If Nick, you're watching this video right now, you know what I'm talking about, because Nick had a slash. And we just shove these plugs in there.
Yeah, all you're doing is pushing rubber in there and then putting glue around it.
That's it. But you need to know how to do that. Or the unfortunate one of dealing with the sealant and how to position a tube in there and put this together. But then you have to know how to take the stem out and put that in the bag so you don't lose it, because you got to put another. So it's not like
you're right. There's more to it. There's more to it than just when you were doing a tube. You're right.
You got it.
And there's being able to diagnose why your tubeless setup is not seating.
Right.
And there's a whole plethora of reasons that could be. It could be your rim strip. It could be your valve stem. It could be your tire itself. It could be the rim. So, it's definitely not as simple as it used to be, but I think that is like if you take a set of tires in that you are trying to convert, if you take your bike in and you want to convert it tubeless, it might cost you $50, and it's actually so easy. It might take 5 minutes total, and you can save that, and 5 minutes in a YouTube search,
and you know how to do it. And the other thing is you know how to do it, which means if something goes wrong on the trail. So, folks, we'll go through some more things, but just while we're on the topic right now, if you don't know how to do that, put it in the comments. No one's going to hurt your feelings. No one's going to say, oh, I can't. No, let me know. Let us know. Because if you don't, then guess what the video is going to be? Me going outside and dealing with a bunch of sloppy sealant, showing you how to shove a tube in your tire, and I'll show you how to do it. Because if you don't, then we're here to help you. Derailleurs. Now, when we talk about derailleurs, that's definitely a good one. But let's try to break that down into the regular guy version of that one. You're on a trail, you hear click, 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 click. What does that mean?
So, man, it
could mean a lot. It could
mean a bunch of different things. I think the best combatant to having a derailleur issue on the trail is simply to educate yourself on how the derailleur works.
Good call.
And before going to the trail, actually putting your bike in a stand or playing around with your derailleur before it breaks, see what it looks like when it's working properly. There's a few different pieces you have to know. A lot of times, if it's just going click, 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 click when you're riding, you can simply adjust the barrel adjuster.
I was hoping you were going to go with that.
Anything.
I was hoping you were going to go with that, because that's exactly what I was thinking.
You wouldn't believe how many people come into the bike shop, and all you actually need to do is change a little bit of tension. And it's just a mechanical piece of equipment, and there's tension between the cable that goes from your handlebar to your derailleur, and that's it. It can be just a very, very slight turn, and your derailleur's perfect.
You're totally right. And the reason why I was really hoping you were going to say that one is because we've got new riders. That means they have new bikes. That means they have cables that haven't been stretched yet.
Exactly.
That means you need to know how to use the barrel adjuster. So I was hoping you were going to say that, because here's why this is so important, folks. You do exactly like he said. You adjust the barrel. You go do it before you ride, right, and see how it looks when it goes in and out. Because the one way you do this, the way I do it, is I do it while I'm pedaling. Because you want to make the click, click, click go away. So I turn the notch. You can't do it when the bike's not moving or you're not pedaling, because how are you going to know?
Well, you don't want to do it when you actually have force down on anything. You want to, but I do it while I'm on my bike too.
I'm pedaling.
It's really not that big of a deal. Yeah.
You get so used to it, but but notice how we didn't say, okay, now take out your Phillips screwdriver and go back to the screws and no. We're not saying that much. We're just saying there's certain tuning you should know how to do. The other thing you should know how to do, or at least know what is, you need to know what a derailleur hanger is. Okay? And to be honest, you really should know how to keep an extra one with you.
You absolutely just should keep it for sure.
Thank you.
Some bikes actually have them stored on the frame these days.
Really?
Yep. Nice. I've seen the new Konas do.
That's smart.
It's really cool, actually. Yeah, so, super cool.
For folks, if you don't know what that is, you're pretty, like it sounds, your derailleur is mounted to your bike on something called a derailleur hanger. That's right, like a little piece of aluminum metal that's designed to break.
Just a weaker piece of metal than your bike frame.
Right.
Or than your derailleur.
And if you hit the derailleur, it'll bend, which is a hell of a lot cheaper than breaking your derailleur or your frame bending. So, but if it goes, your derailleur's, and you need to know that.
Yeah. That's the consequence of it. Since it's a weaker piece of metal, they tend to flex a lot, and that's like the next level in knowing about derailleurs. And I didn't even know this until I started working at Absolute Bikes just last year. I didn't know this, so don't feel bad if you don't either. It's a very common undiagnosed problem of the derailleur is that the derailleur can be working just right. You have a new cable, new housing, you've got all the right tension, but if your derailleur hanger is just slightly bent, it's not gonna work.
Right, and it's not gonna be in line.
Yep, and I've talked about it in a lot of different places. The derailleur hanger alignment tool. I think when I rode with you, no, we didn't use it, but I've used it a lot of times in the parking lot when I'm riding with friends. And that thing, it was like $75, and it saved me, I can't even tell you how many dollars in putting bikes in bike shops, just because I had that tool. And that's really the only way to straighten it
It
out.
really is, because you don't. There's no way you can measure it any other way.
Nah,
than
you
this
can't know.
Yeah.
There's too many different ways it could be bending.
Yeah. So when you're out on the trail, those are honestly, folks. It's not like we're going to give you a laundry list of things. I'm not going to say you need to know how to, because I'm not that good at suspension. Like you're not going to have to go and change the gaskets.
I just had my suspension serviced.
Yeah.
Now, I don't trust myself, and I don't have the time.
Now, you should have a working knowledge of how your suspension works, though, right? Compression, rebound.
Yeah.
That's not fixing stuff.
I'm not taking it apart and playing with the internals.
No. I wish I could say I had the time to learn all that, but it's just there's like you said, there's only so many hours, and you got to pick your battles. Now,
exactly.
I like where you were going with this about saving money. Is one that I think. Let me tell me if you agree. Mm-hmm. Brake pads.
Definitely you should know. That's an easy enough investment, and it's a pretty good cost savings.
Right.
Knowing how to assess when you need to change them, knowing how to wear them in on your own, and knowing how to change them yourself so that you can just buy them and put them in. Because here's the thing is that most of the cost when you go to your local bike shop, most of what you're paying is for the labor, not the parts.
Sure.
So anywhere where you can buy the part and learn to install yourself, you're going to be doing yourself a favor, and then let them do the big stuff.
Right.
So brake pads are a really simple one. Learning how to install them, learning how to assess if you need new ones, learning how to change them out yourself, and maybe learning some ways to troubleshoot squeaky, malfunctioning brakes, like ones that are making noise. And that's like a whole topic on its own. There's a lot of different ways to go about that. But yeah, I think that's a really quite simple one to research and learn and become informed on quickly.
Now, if you guys want to take it to the next level and learn how to bleed your own brakes, that's cool. But we didn't say that that's a regular guy get into it, learn how to do, because that could be a bit of a pain in the butt. And you got to invest in the bleed kit and everything. Yep. We didn't say any of that. But changing your brake pads is kind of important.
Yeah, the bleed again is pretty good, but it can be so tough if you don't have a designated space to do it. For instance, me to do it on the road and not in a bike shop. If I were to try to bleed my bike outside, it'd be pretty tough. I do have a bleed kit though, but at the last bike shop I worked at, it was $50 per brake to bleed, and the bleed kit alone is $100.
Yeah.
So you're only saving money once you get to your second bleed, and if you mess up the first bleed, you might be only getting one bleed out of your kit or whatever. So that one can be a difficult one. It is good to know how to do it, but it's definitely more complicated when you're dealing with hydraulic lines.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, with the cable actuated brakes, that's a different story. Then it's a cable, but then we're back to knowing how to adjust cables when they stretch. Because all of a sudden you're like going to the bars, and you're like,
the cable, a mechanical brake is much easier to play to learn how to play with. Probably the most important thing I ever learned about working on bikes is while working at bike shops. It was that there's really nothing that you can do permanent damage-wise to your bike by playing around with it and learning how things work. Like, you can tinker on your bike all day and go in and pull things off and see how they're moving, and there's no permanent damage you'll do.
Right. You might not know how to put it back together again, so you just put them all in the bag and bring it to your bike shop and say, "I'm sorry," and they'll fix it.
Exactly. But most of the time, there's not anything that you can't undo or put back, unless you're getting into your shocks.
True.
Again.
True. Yeah.
So
but then, maybe don't tinker right away with that one. There you go.
Leave that one to the pros.
Now, this one might sound a little bit silly, but I think people overlook this. You really need to know how to clean your chain and lube your chain properly, because that also affects your shifting. It's also going to affect the wear on all your other components. And it's not like I have 1,000 bottles. I have 2 bottles of lube, one for wet, one for dry. And I clean off my chain. I know what the terrain looks like, and I apply the right one.
Right. Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. I actually would group that into kind of like a broader category, which is just learning standard bike maintenance or how to do a standard bike check.
Sure. Good call.
One of the first things you learn at a bike shop is a level 1 bike check or a level 1 tune-up, and all that entails is super simple stuff. It's checking all the bolts, it's checking brake alignment, just making sure the rotors are not rubbing, it's checking tire sealant, it's checking to make sure the wheels are true, it's checking to make sure it's and a derailleur adjustment and a brake adjustment. That's it. Those things. So derailleur adjustment, brake adjustment, bolt check, and wheels true. And those things, I think everyone should be able to at least assess on their own, even if you can't fix it. Because like you just were saying, you can prevent a lot of extra wear and tear if you, for instance, know what a worn out chain looks like. If you have the tool that you can measure how much the chain has stretched and catch it before it wears down your cassette. Right. And because that's another $100.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you get to like the 12 speeds and stuff. That's $100. You're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean,
preventative stuff like that.
Preventative's huge.
I think is super important.
You need to know those things exactly, and that like for the folks that are tuning in and watching this video, I mean, these are just simple things you should know how to do. I mean, if you're expecting anything elaborate for us to throw at you, no, you just need to know how to basically do some basic stuff to your bike, because these simple things are either going to keep the bike going longer, or they're going to save your buns when you're out there on a trail. You know, I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And also be willing to put in the time, you know, for the longest time in my riding career, life, whatever, which it hasn't been an insanely long time. I had a really bad habit of not ever allocating time to work on my bike, or to at least look at my bike.
Yeah.
I would ride, and I would be so tight on my ride. You know, I'd come back and I'd need to work again, or I'd need to go sleep and go to work or whatever. There was always something else to do, and never allocated any time to actually maintaining the bike. And it eventually cost me a whole lot. One of the best things you can do is just make sure that you put some time into cleaning your bike off after a ride and looking it over every now and then. That's it.
I mean, it embarrasses the hell out of me when I bring my bike into the shop. And, my buddy Jason at the shop goes and starts squeezing the spokes to see how things goes. Yep. And I'm like, oh, I feel like, I'm like the kids of the shoemakers. Basically, I feel like a jerk because I'm like, here I am, Mr. Regular Guy, mountain bike guy. You know,
I don't think you're alone at all.
And all my spokes are like all wiggly. You know, I'm like, geez.
I've done it too, man.
I feel bad, you know.
Yeah.
But that's
what's this really terrible noise that every time I go down a hill, there's this ridiculous noise, and they pull off the brake pads and there's just metal.
Yeah. I mean, at least in the old days,
that makes sense.
At least in the old days when you had like cantilever and V brakes, you almost had to true your wheels because they were going. But now with disc, they can go like this. I'm not saying they should, and you'll still stop. So it's just it's not. At least it's a little easier for you to kind of let it go by.
Yeah. You know what? You want to know another easy one you can do is a simple brake alignment where you're just loosening the bolts on your actual brake set, and then you grab the brake lever and that squeezes it and centers it over the rotor.
Oh,
and then you tighten the bolts back while you have it squeezed, and that's like a simple way. Or you can eye it, but
that's the best way. You're doing it is the best way. Yeah.
That's the easiest way.
Yeah. Yeah. So what he's talking about, folks, is there's the caliper is attached to the frame, and it's held by two bolts. And sometimes that's not centered, so that means it's not getting a direct even pull from the left and the right pistons. So yeah, you loosen those two. Yeah, right. Exactly. You loosen those two, you squeeze it, it centers itself, and I usually get a little
time it back. Super easy.
Yeah. So folks, I mean, what are your thoughts on this topic? We always get a lot of good comments when we talk about things like this. Because this is important, because we have a lot of new riders that are starting to watch these videos. So if you can leave some comments on things that maybe you think we left out, that would be great. And for new riders, if we started talking about things that you're kind of like, you're talking Greek to me here, dude. I don't even know what you're talking. So then fine.
That's a good sign to start doing some research.
Exactly. We can leave you links. We can make some videos up and show you how stuff works. That's kind of how this whole community works here, my friends. We just help each other because we like to.
That's what mountain bikers do. I got one more really good one.
I want to hear it.
How to change the chain or fix the chain. That's probably one of the top 3 things on the trail.
Totally.
Tire, derailleur, chain.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's take I forgot about that. That's a great one. So what we're talking about here, folks, is you blow a chain link. You need to know how to either use a master link and put the chain back together, or you need to know how to use one of those master pins where you shove it through and you break it. So you need to know how to use a chain tool.
Right.
Yeah. That I can't believe I forgot about that. That's a huge one. That's a huge one.
When I started carrying master links, my world was my life was so much better.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? That's a very important one because that stuff just happens. That's happening.
Oh yeah.
It's going to happen. I mean, it's not even like a matter of, if. It is when. Everyone that's watching this video, if you ride a lot, it's going to happen to you. It's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that one. I would have forgotten about that one. So yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, let us know. We can help you with that too. All
and
right,
if
folks.
you do, look down in the comments to see if anyone needed help and help them.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to see someone say, I'm not really sure how to do that, and someone else says, here's how I do it. We're all good here. I'm not going to be like, no, you have to watch Gene's video on how it works. That's not what I'm not expecting to get 1 million views off this video. It's just here to help everybody out. That's what we do.
Awesome.
That's all I wanted to cover tonight. In fact, I'm really happy with what we did tonight. I think we're going to help some people out. I got to talk to my buddy again, and you said you're going to come around here again soon one of these days.
Oh, you better believe it. Yeah. I definitely am coming back up to the New England area. I loved it up there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, that'd be a whole lot of fun.
Mountain Creek is calling my name.
I know. Well, I don't want to. I'm going to be getting a new bike for next season, and I'm just going to leave it at that because
That's a bomb to drop at the end of
I know. That's why I'm going to more to come. Yeah. So I have a new bike in mind. It's not even like it's happening. I mean, there's a little box over here where I'm saving all my pennies. It's a done.
That's sick.
So I'm pretty psyched. So yeah, it'll be ready for you. You got to come over here and we'll have some fun over at the creek.
All right. Sounds good.
Folks, give this one a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Please give us some comments. You know how it goes. Keep the party on the pedals. You got to do yours.
Live free, ride hard, get stoked.
That's right. And I wanted to do it with you because I didn't forget this time. I even had the shirt over there. I remember we did it. I know.
Oh, I think I see it. Is it the maroon one?
Yeah, it's right back over there. Yep.
Nice.
And I got another video coming out right now. I'm like, holy crap, I forgot I got Alex's shirt on there. So I'm like a freaking Alex bulletin board running around. All right. So everybody, you guys have a great time. And thanks for watching the video. Later on.
See you next time. Cool.
Where the hell's my mouse?